that's not enough applause to do a few Toby Keith songs. Since Toby's not here with us, they got me up here instead. I want to talk to you just a few minutes about the new Redman Spinnerbait, which is just like the old Redman Spinnerbait, only better. I want to throw away a couple, two or three of them. I'm going to give you some real special when we get through this talking about this. Got a couple, two or three Redman Spinnerbaits I'm going to throw out there, and these are special Toby Keith Redman Spinnerbaits. They're red, white, and blue. We've got them in about, 300 or 400 Walmart stores right now on special display. They're spinnerbaits that you can catch fish with, but they're basically a commemorative spinnerbait to commemorate my fishing buddy Toby Keith. Red, white, and blue. One of, if not the most patriotic, soldier-loving patriots in the world, Toby Keith. And we just this month heard 4 of his songs this last month that we've heard about anywhere. We'll hear them every time there's any kind of patriotic day around here in the United States. But anyway, I want to talk about the Redman Spinnerbait. This particular spinnerbait, and this is what we call a retro spinnerbait. It's the same design exactly that I used when I was in high school and designed this bait. And some of y'all might not realize it, but it's been a long time since I've been in high school. A long time. And I built this bait when I was in high school and in college. And to tell you how far ago that was, I sold a man Redman Spinnerbaits that opened up some department stores over there in Arkansas, northwestern part of Arkansas and the northeastern part of Oklahoma. Where I lived on Lake Tedkiller, he opened up store number 10. The man's name was Sam Walton, and they called those stores Walmarts. He had 13 stores. I sold him a Redman Spinnerbait. And the reason that they bought them for those early Walmart stores was that I told him that I could put the right color spinnerbait in each one of his stores. I fished all the lakes around and rivers and streams and creeks around Rogers, Arkansas, and Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and Fort Smith, Arkansas, the river, the Arkansas River. I fished all of that water. I knew the right color to put in each one of those 13 stores. It's a little bit more difficult now. They got a few more stores than that scattered around. But we got the very best color Redman spinnerbaits in those stores. They'll be in all the Walmart stores shortly, but about 300 or 400 of them. I've got a little sidekick display up there with those red, white, and blue. So y'all gonna be the first ones to get some of these, and I got 3 or 4 of them I'll throw out. But this particular spinnerbait, let me just talk about it a little bit. Woo! That makes me excited just to throw it out there and wind it back in. I just like throwing it out and winding it back in. Really, that's all you need to know about fishing. Oh, I got a bite. I got a bite. I think I got a bite. Felt like it, but did I get a bite? One thing let me tell you what, let me just start talking about first, is one of the things that we did is we put an elongated hook on this bait. Now, I know some of y'all can't see that bait. They cut my dang hook off. They ruined a really good Redman spinnerbait. They cut my hook off because they were afraid that I would catch one of those fish. And so my deal is, that's what we throw it in the water for, is try to catch a fish. But we put in an elongated hook, and those of you, if you come by the Lucky Strike booth, which is down here, I think number 2036 or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it's just right over there. Come by and look at all the different colors. Now, one of the things that we did with this spinnerbait, the elongated hook is in there, so a lot of bass, when they hit a spinnerbait, they'll be short striking it a little bit, and they'll come up and hit it, and you feel them hit like that one did there, and you don't catch them. That's because I got the hook cut off. If I had a hook in there, I catch that sucker. Yeah, I'd be up here smooching on it right now, what I would be doing. You know how many fish I've kissed in my lifetime? Not enough. Not enough. I'll guarantee you that. But it's got an elongated hook, so with some of those fish that bite a little short, you still catch them on a Redman. You miss them on a lot of other spinnerbaits. The main, and there's a lot of differences in this bait. And now we make other great spinnerbaits at Lucky Strike. We make a Viper King spinnerbait. It's a great spinnerbait. We make another called a Jimmy Hughes Legend spinnerbait, which has got a nice R bend in it. It's got light wire, real heavy vibration. make a lot of different combinations of it. This particular Redman spinnerbait has got what we call a safety pin bend in it. In other words, it's a round bend like a safety pin. I know none of y'all are old enough to remember, but if any of y'all are old enough to remember, if you built spinnerbaits when you were a kid like I did, what we would do is we would buy diaper pins. They had real diapers back when I was a kid. Women had to rinse them out and wash them and put them back on the baby again. Now they go and throw them away. You don't do diapers. They had diaper pins that they pinned diapers with. They're pretty good size. We would buy diaper pins at the store, and then we would cut the point off of one of them, the point that slipped down, and we'd bend it, and we'd put a swivel and a split ring and a blade. Down on the other end of it, we would cut that part that you snap the safety pin back into. We'd cut it off. We'd put a hook in there, and we'd bend the wire over that. And so we'd put that in a jig mold. There wasn't any such thing as spinnerbait mold. We put it in a jig mold, and then we'd come out with a Redman spinnerbait. That's exactly what we did. And but this safety pin type bend, which is a wrapped bend, the modern spinnerbaits that everybody's got, including Lucky Strike, we got some of these, is an R bend or a U bend. It was made that way. The reason that innovation came about, and it's a good innovation, nothing wrong with that. It was made so if your line wrapped around your wire like this, it'd still come right on through because that was open. It was either a U or an R bend, and so your line would go around and it'd come right out. On the wrap bend like this, the line can't get back behind here, and so you have to watch it and pull it out. But the advantage of having the wrap bend and the disadvantage of the R or the U bend is that if you get a spinnerbait that's really good, it's got really good light wire in it, like 30 or 35,000 light wire, and you catch 15 or 20 fish on it, when you swing them in the boat or whatever, it straightens that spinnerbait out a lot like that. After you bend it back 3 or 4 times, if you're fishing in a tournament, if you're a tournament fisherman, you catch 10 or 15 fish on that bait, you best be taking it off and tying you a brand new one on. Now that's great for the tackle companies. We like that. They like that a lot. But because that bait is going to break, sometimes a really good one that's vibrating real good might break it 10 or 15 fish, 12 fish. The Redman spinnerbait, don't tell the people that over at Lucky Strike this. You could catch 200 or 300 on this thing, and it won't break. Stock up on brand new skirts. Make sure you get some skirts. Skirt's going to wear out. Nothing else going to wear out on that bait. I've got all the paint will be gone off the eye. You just have a piece of lead with an elongated hook in it, and your bait won't break. You can catch 200 or 300. The other thing to think about is the shorter arm. The shorter arm, and I know y'all can't see it. A lot of it from down there. That arm is right up here. It's not coming way back here over that hook. One of the reasons that spinnerbait manufacturers make a long wire is to kind of keep you from getting hung up quite as bad. That wire will kind of protect that hook a little bit. Here's the other thing it does. It also protects the fish. If a big one comes up, particularly a real big one, comes up and he hits that, and this blade is way back here, and if the wire comes back to here, the blade comes back to right here. That bass comes up and hits it. If his mouth hits the top of that blade, guess what? Oh, dang, I sound like bison. I forgot I said guess what. Lord. But what happens if that bass's mouth hits the top of that blade? He don't close his mouth. He don't close it. And you get those bites that you want in that spinnerbait, just bang, jerk it right out of your hand. You set the hook, and you see a big swirl, 5 or 6 pound bass, and you missed it because his mouth hit the top of that blade. So if you shorten that arm down, what we were interested in as kids when we was in high school and college, the same thing I'm interested in right now. Something bites it, I want to catch that sucker. That's all there is to it. I want to catch them. So we shortened that arm down. We had short arms, so the bass had an area to get to that hook. The point of that hook is going to be way back here. So even on this bait right here, the point of the hook is back here. He comes up, he's not going to hit that blade. He's going to bite down on that hook and you catch that fish. So it eliminates a lot of that. The other thing that we found out with that short arm is that it vibrates more. The longer arm you have on the top of the spinnerbait, it dampens the vibration. If you ask 100 professional fishermen that fish a spinnerbait, what's the most important thing in a spinnerbait, 90 or 95 of them will say vibration, vibration, vibration. That's the big thing, that blade turning, creating vibration, making your rod tip shake at the end of it, making it thump a little bit, vibration. Round blades vibrate more than willow leaf blades, elongated blades. So that short wire creates more vibration. So you got more vibration on the bait, you got an area where the fish get it. That's the reason we bend that wire that way. Back here, we have another little difference here. We use a crane swivel. That's right, not a ball bearing swivel. And I heard one buyer told one of our guys at Lucky Strike, I'll never buy a spinner bait that doesn't have a ball bearing swivel on it. I won't mention who that buyer is, but he doesn't know nothing about spinnerbait fishing. I'm just telling you. Because a crane swivel is not nearly as good a swivel as a ball bearing swivel. Not nearly as good. But the problem on a spinnerbait with a ball bearing swivel is they turn too good. Again, it doesn't make that blade work. You can take those things and you can spin that blade. And you see that turns around a couple times and stops. It takes more work for that blade. The blade is working, which is what you want to. That's where some of that vibration comes in. The short arm and that blade working. So, and honestly, I'll be 100% honest with you. When I was in college, I didn't know that. I probably put crane swivels on there because they were cheaper and I couldn't afford a ball bearing swivel. I mean, that's so far back, I don't remember why. But once I got to where I could buy ball bearing swivels, I put ball bearing swivels on them. Totally different bait. You can buy a Redman Spinner bait, put a ball bearing swivel on. Check it out, you'll see it. This is not a myth. It's not magic. You want that blade working. We use a round blade because a round blade vibrates more. Honestly, when I've tournament fished, and I won 2 BASS Angler of the Year titles on this bait, probably those 2 years, probably 70% of all the bass I weighed in those BASS tournaments was on a Redman Spinner bait. And I used a one size up larger blade. And if I was fishing this bait in tournaments, I fish this bait just like I used to take down the pack and tie dog fishing. If I fish in tournaments, I would move it to one size larger blade to fish tournaments. Now, if you do that, you have to be more careful in working it, because when you get a bigger blade on there, the bait will have a tendency to want to lay over on its side a little bit. You don't want that happening when you're fishing spinnerbait. This blade right here, you can throw it out there, and we'll do it. You can throw it out there. You can throw that bait out there, and wind. I'll let her drop down a bit so you can see it. Wind it in pretty fast. See how it stays straight? That's moving that bait pretty fast right there. That's moving that bait pretty fast. See that right there? And that blade right there is perfectly designed. That's a 3/8 ounce head. Oh, got a bite. a 3/8 ounce head, and the bait totally with the blade and all the hardware and the skirt weighs a 1/2 ounce. So it's an extremely good casting bait. It's casting the wind really, really good. And all of and the other thing that also adds a little bit more to your vibration. And if you don't believe me, you can buy one of these baits and try it and set your rod up, put one of our other spinner baits, give me some legend on there. Throw it out there and then throw this one out there. The other thing that makes this thing vibrate a little bit more than anybody else is we put it in large split ring. That split ring is larger than what we put in any other spinner bait. Again, that's part of the secret in it working like that. Now keep in mind, we're college kids, high school kids when we developed all this. Some of it was by pure accident. All we knew is we could build that bait, we could go out and kick people's butt with it. We're winning local tournaments, you know. First 3 bass tournaments I ever fished in Oklahoma, I finished 4th place, and I was really disappointed because I thought I'd win them all. It didn't work that way, but I thought I would. But then the second tournament and the third tournament I won. I didn't win the 4th or the 5th or the 6th, but you know. And so that's all we were interested in, building a bait that would catch fish. One thing about selling them or nothing like that. And so a lot of the things that we stumbled on as kids worked really, really well. The other thing, so this whole assembly is really, really important in making this bait the best spinner bait on the market. The other thing that you look at, now I put a red eye, and all I did on my red eyes, I had a little brush, I dip it in red, and I dot the eyes. Building them, I had a rack, had 144 baits on it. I had like 40 or 50 racks trying to build all these baits for a guy named Sam Walton. And I put make a red eye on it. Red and blue are the 2 colors fish can see best in most shallow water applications. So the only thing we did is we decided to make a little bit of modern on this bait. We put real good glass eyes in here, red glass eyes. So your eyes are going to be there. The other thing is the skirt. This is not a silicone skirt. It's a real high-grade living rubber skirt. We got both flat and round square skirts. Both of them in there, 40 tails. The flat skirts are tapered at the end. That gives it a lot more action as it's coming through the water. And again, you can see that. One of the things you might want to do, like I said, is just get one of your regular spinner baits, throw it out there, watch the way it comes through the water. Uh-oh. And then get you a Redman and throw it out there and watch the way it comes through the water. My buddy Roland Martin, who won 9 BASS thing of the title, that has become his favorite bait over the last 2 years. His very favorite bait. He even likes it better than, was that a fish or was I hung up? I think I was hung up, wasn't I? Or did I have a fish on there? Yeah, felt pretty good. Anything gonna turn on the end of my pole, I gotta set the hook. And I know I don't even have a hook. I'm setting the hookless is what I'm saying. But anyway, that's become Roland Martin's favorite bait. And Roland Martin's favorite worm has always been a sinking worm, like a lucky salt that we have. But he even likes this bait better than what he calls a scatter bait. All other fishermen in the world call it a chatterbait. Roland got that mixed up. He calls it a scatterbait. He even likes the Redman better than scatterbait right now. But if you get a chance, you want to look at all the colors we got. We've got some other colors that are not used too much nowadays too, that I've caught literally thousands and thousands of bass on. Purple. Purple is a color that is not hardly ever used as spinnerbait, yet we use it in worms and jigs all the time. Black and yellow. One of the primary things that bass are eating right now is bluegill. Bluegill are spawning, black and yellow. We got a crawfish color, which is orange and brown. Some colors that you don't see in other spinnerbait. We've got white, we got blue and chartreuse, we got chartreuse and white, standard color. But you get a chance, go down there and go by the Lucky Strike booth. By the way, these are one of the very few spinnerbaits made in America. It's a Toby company, made in America. All of our hard plastic baits, like our deep smoothie, all of those baits, all American original rattler, made in America. About 60 or 70% of all the baits we made, either made in Greenwood, Arkansas, or Heavener, Oklahoma. So it's a proud American company, and we're doing everything we can at Lucky Strike. Toby's been one of my buddies for the last 20 some odd years, and it hurt like you can't imagine to get that phone call at 2:30 in the morning back in January when Toby left this earth. We're going to run this company and keep this company and make him proud that it's an American company. Fort Smith, Arkansas, Greenwood, Arkansas, Heavener, Oklahoma. One of these days, not too far to feature in the distant future, every single bait we made will be right here in America. We know Toby's going to be looking down. He might write a song about that, sing it to some of his other buddies that's up there with him. So, Redman Spinner, check them out, guys. Thank y'all so very much. God bless you. God bless the USA. Boomer Sooner. God bless Texas. Okay.